Welcome to Diving into the Mind of. Today's patient we have Tempest Kitty. Let us see which tools allow us to examine this unique patient who's joined us in the ER. And let's see, apparently she is diagnosed with a furry and staunch atheist. Ooh, this seems interesting. Welcome to the show, Tempest.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I kind of want to get like a base, introduce yourself, tell us a bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit that, a basic need to know kind of thing about you.
A basic need to know about me, huh? Well, I live in Australia, so I come from the land down under, I guess, if you want to put it that way. You can often see my public posts on G+ in relation to atheism, anti-vaccination, all manner of interesting topics. I'm also known to be a little bit of a troll every now and then. Not because I guess we all sort of like doing that every now and then. We just sort of like to stir the pot a little bit, which is fine. And I am a little renowned for being sometimes overtly drunk in live hangouts, which I'm not now. I'm completely fine now. But yeah, I am a furry, like you have mentioned. But I guess I'm more of a bit of a quiet furry, I guess. I'm just sort of, I randomly show up. I don't overtly advertise it, although just looking at my, I guess, avatar, you can generally guess that, I guess. A bit of a fitness junkie as well. I like to jog a lot. So I do have a fitness circle, which I post all my runs and workouts to and stuff like that. And I love fish. There you go. Fish and sushi are my main staples.
Fish and sushi.
Yep.
Japanese delicates. Sounds, at least like to me.
As close to as you can get in Australia anyway. Yep.
Nice. All right. So, okay, I think some people, especially for some of the regular known audience of mine that's in the Christian view, so dive into it. Like, what is the furry? Like, what does that mean to be it? And what exactly is this culture that is based on it?
Sure. That's a really broad question, and it's a little bit like, well, let's use Christianity. It's a little bit like Christianity in the sense that a lot of people, there's a lot of denominations, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah. So the fandom is multifaceted in the same way that Christianity, I guess, is multifaceted. Like some people have a personal belief, some people have a bigger group sort of outlook of it. So there's different sections of the furry community. So you'll find the fursuiters, of course, which you'll always see mostly over YouTube, generally, that you always see, dancing at conventions and stuff like that. You have the art appreciators, I guess, that are the people that don't necessarily get dressed up or may not even go to cons, conventions or anything like that, but they're a very big fan of the art, the anthropomorphized art. What else? Then there's the, I guess, the more shady side, the fetish side of the fandom, I guess, if you want to call it that.
The erotic type.
The erotic type, and that's another can of worms. I'm not going to really go deeply into that, but that is a part of it. So you got to you can't just exclude a whole part of a fandom. That is part of the fandom as well. But yeah, in general, most furries are generally pretty nice and easy to get along with, at least. Yeah. So I guess I hope that sort of sums it up well.
I actually did when I went to an anime convention in my area, and I noticed when I went to see the furries, there's some that they stay dedicated to this point that they don't speak. I don't know, is that a common thing whenever they For
That's a common thing for fursuiting anyway. Generally, you'll find a very large portion of the fursuiters, when in their suit, do not talk because they've actually, I guess it's, a lot of them describe it as becoming their character more than anything else. So they're in character, I guess. It's a bit like method acting in that respect, I guess. So yeah, a lot of them won't talk, but the ones that have articulated jaw in the actual suit, so the jaw will move when they open their mouth. You may find that they talk because it at least looks like they're talking. The other ones are generally a fixed jaw, and that's generally why they don't talk, because it looks strange, having almost a disembodied voice coming out, and no muzzle movement at all. So, yeah, but yeah, it's part of the character, I think, more than anything else.
Do you think that? We're going to touch on this a bit more, then we'll get into the hot topic, hot button issue of the religious things.
Sure.
But with furries, do you think there's a little bit of what do you think is the reaction that outsiders give to the furries, for example?
Sure. I think perhaps in the past, it was probably, I don't know about frowned upon, but it was definitely looked at as bizarre. Well, a little bit more, left of center, I guess. But over the time, I think because there's been more exposure of the fandom to the general public in general, that it's not as, I guess, weird or freaky now as it possibly used to be in the past. You'll find that a lot of fursuiters, have a lot of stories of making people smile and laugh. If they go out to the park or whatever, the kids running up and wanting to give them a hug, and making adults smile and happy for the day. That's sort of their ultimate aim, I guess, is just to have a bit of fun. Get everybody smiling and feeling happy, and So I think there's still a bit of the misconception when you mention the word furry. People instantly think of people, often will think of people who are just having sex dressed up as animals, I guess. But that's gotten a lot better, and well, at least in my opinion, it's gotten a lot better over the recent years because of the exposure, basically. So yeah, I don't think it's as taken as weird or as strange as it used to be now. It's a little bit more accepted, I think.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing. Have you ever heard of Daniel Tosh?
No, I have not.
He has a show where he goes commenting on viral web videos.
Oh, sure.
And there was a furry that got upset over how the community was being treated, and he went on a whole huge rampage, rant, and then showed some kind of thing where he had like a full plastic Ziploc bag of fox hair or some crap.
Right.
And I think this kid was like only like 14 or 15 years old or something, but he looked like he was older than that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, then Daniel Tosh did some kind of thing where he was doing a web redemption to, get his another chance at spotlight, and then what happened was they dressed up as the fursonas, and he's like, I know you said that apparently furries aren't all about sex, but apparently this party we're at, it's apparently it's just a bunch of fursuit people having sex with each other, and it just shows a very bizarre scene.
Of it happening?
Yeah, they're in the suits and they're doing all this stuff, but in the end, one of them cuts off the other's genitalia, and turns out it's Bob Barker underneath the suit saying, "Have your pet spayed or neutered?"
That's great. So it's a bit of a setup then, yeah. So not really indicative of how it generally happens.
Mhm. Yes.
Because I think the community also, I guess we like to sometimes we like to play it up a bit because we know, because it is an attention thing for some as well, so they may play the attention card, but yeah, generally that's not always exactly. It's not very. Yeah, it's not the way it happens all the time. It's not like that.
All right. So, if I have any more questions on this, I will go back to it. But I would like to say one thing. What all does
Sure.
it take really to be a furry? Again, you could even just be appreciation of the artwork.
Sorry, ask again.
Like, what does it take to be like a furry? Does it just take like even just appreciation of the artwork, just as simple as that, or like what does it mean to be a furry?
Well,
And for
yeah.
someone
So
to,
I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's. Do you identify as one? I don't think there's um, a definitive a list of things that makes you an actual furry. But I mean, if you like the art, let's just say you just like the art only,
Mhm.
you generally gravitate towards sites and people who are of the same same mind. And oh, I'm terribly sorry. That's my dog barking in the background live.
Cool. That's
You'll generally gravitate towards those same sort of people and those sites. And if it's something that you like, well, then I guess you would then be become part of the furry fandom as it stands. So yeah, but I mean, it's ultimately up to you. You could still like the art, perhaps not have any interaction with anyone else, and perhaps not call yourself a furry, but still like the art. But I guess it's just how you feel. If you feel like you want to call yourself that, then then you are. I don't think it's more complicated. I don't think there's like 10 signs that you might be a furry or anything like that. But yeah.
because I want to try something interesting. I want to pay some kind of homage to it, and I will, for the rest of the hangout, try to just keep it at this, and I will consider this my fursona because apparently my favorite colors are black and red, and this just so happened to have been a perfect picture to pick for it. Plus, I love the trench coat.
Do you have the artist's name?
No, I wish I did.
Okay, I'm very big on that. So that's another thing is art theft.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say this is mine. This is
Yeah.
not my artwork. This belongs to whoever wrote it. If you've seen it, do not be ticked off at me. I am sorry, bro. I will.
Yeah, no, I always like paying credit where it's due. So if you
Oh,
knew the
yeah.
artist, it would be good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially I do that whenever I make a video. I make sure to give the credit to where it's due, and
Mhm.
'cause sometimes some of my material is not always just mine. It's audios from like debates and stuff to make sure that it stays alive and well in the culture of religious debates and stuff like that. So and it's always
Sure.
good that people have that kind of information and where they can find the source of it, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
And I did.
so this would be the picture you're displaying here is something what you would say would be if you had to pick a persona, it would be something like this.
Right, especially
Okay. Okay.
because he just looks that awesome, and I'm that awesome. At least I think. It's all my head, probably. I don't know. I'm crazy tonight.
That's all right. Would you like me to show my actual full body persona? PG, of course.
Sure.
Give me a second, and I'll just. I didn't think I was going to do that, so let me just go into my pictures and blah blah blah. I'll find it. Keep on talking while I'm quickly looking at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tempest is looking for the full body version of Persona. You've seen a headshot. And note, this is just, us chilling and we're discussing the Persona thing. And the next topic we are going to is involving the topic of the hot button matter issue that a lot of people don't want to touch even when they're at the family table, because that's where the dinner rolls are. It's known as religion. That is a topic of very, very controversial issues. and you're going to have to get used to the fact that your host and beloved Christian anarchist is now a black and red furry wolf. So get used to it. All right, here we go. This is the picture of Tempest.
Yeah, that is me, because being a slave to coffee, because I am in fact a slave to coffee. You'll notice the collar, the chain going into the coffee cup, into the large coffee cup, because I don't function too well without coffee first thing in the morning. I'm pretty terrible without it. So yeah, that's a pretty good representation, I guess. PG too. Right. So that's just something. Can I just quickly touch on that as well? So if you are exploring the furry fandom for the first time, and you're looking at art, you just need to be prepared that there is an awful lot of represented nudity, I guess, in the art that you find. There's plenty of stuff which is all, you know, PG rated and stuff like that, of course, as well. But if you just happen to go to a site, so perhaps like I'll put a plug in for Fur Affinity, which is one of the largest furry art sites that are available and around. Mm-hmm. Just looking at the general day-to-day submissions, yeah, you're going to find you know, naked furries represented there quite frequently, of course. So that is something that you should be at least made aware of, I guess, if you're easily offended by, you know, boobs or yeah, representation of particular body parts and nether regions. But keep in mind that it's not all that way. So if you like the clean art, there's plenty of artists and people that are into just the clean art. So yeah. Anyway, I'll stop sharing that. There we go. Cool.
All right. Cool. All right. So I will slowly get into the next topic. Have you seen the? I don't know. Yeah, I think you have the video that I showed you lately of the that I made concerning the Christian furry movement that I heard about.
Yeah, which I find interesting.
Yeah. What did you think on that exactly? What was your thoughts?
Well, I think I mentioned to you when you showed it to me that, you know, if they've, if they've found and created their sort of, I guess, religious space that sort of works for them, and it's making them happy, and it's not really sort of hurting anyone, and you know they're getting something out of it that's not sort of harmful to themselves, then more power to them. Given what I know about the furry fandom, it's having Christian furries is kind of, it seems as a very, very strange idea, just given the way that certain parts of the fandom are. But like I said, it's not impossible, and obviously, if they've achieved that, and you know they're keeping to it, well then good on them. Yeah, not the strangest thing that you'll find in the furry fandom is Christian furries, I guess. So yeah, rather interesting though. Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, so like, I remember there's also I forget what the name of the group was, but they always went to this place we call Anthrocon.
Anthrocon, yep.
And there's always this one group that comes by there and they have a little event that they host there, which is a little sermon thing that they always preach to furries, and they're a Christian furry fellowship type of group that they always go to Anthrocon to preach the gospel to furries.
Sure.
And I don't know, I mean, like, let's say you went to a convention, or, I mean, does Australia have conventions for places like this? Of course we do.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah. My city hosts one of the larger ones.
Really?
Yeah, in Melbourne. Oh, you know, I'm pulling a mental blank. I'll have to look that up quickly for you. Yeah.
Australia.
No, Melbourne. Yeah,
Australia, birth to the largest conventions for furries.
Well, I don't think we gave birth to them. I think it was more of an American thing first. Yeah.
So on your other post, you say you're a staunch atheist, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. So with staunch atheist, describe for the audience, because I can now see that we have two viewers that are watching this live.
Sure.
Describe what that means exactly for being a staunch atheist.
Well, if you want to take the word staunch for a moment there, it basically means loyal and committed in attitude. If you want to look at synonyms for it, it's, faithful, trusty, committed, devoted, dedicated, dependable, reliable, steady, constant, hardworking, vigorous, stable, firm, steadfast. I won't go on, but it's you get the idea. So I guess it's just more a description of the style of atheism, if that makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, very unwavering and very very devoted to it, very strong opinion, I guess, on it is what a staunch atheist would be if you wanted to put it in description. That said, like I mentioned to you in our chats, there's staunch Christians, which are the same, but for their beliefs. So yeah, I would just be the equivalent, just in an atheistic point of view. Okay. Yeah.
So,
but that's how I look at it anyway.
So how did you come to atheism? How old were you whenever this came about?
So, when I grew up, oh God, it's going to be a long story, isn't it? So growing up, initially, I was raised as a Catholic. Went to a Catholic primary school and all that sort of stuff. And in about grade 4, I left that primary school to go to a public government school, which was no religious denomination, because I just even at that age I couldn't take anything that was being taught religiously anyway seriously. It didn't seem it didn't sit well with me, basically. But that brought me to the I guess the pagan movement for a very long time. So for a very long time, I guess you could say I was part of the Wicca movement.
The Wiccan.
Yeah, for a very, very long, fair few years. And it finally took coming across Christopher Hitchens, believe it or not, and just listening to him talk and debate, and some of his books that really sort of got me questioning my I guess beliefs so it wasn't even a questioning of Christianity anymore. It was an actual questioning of the pagan belief system that I was in. And I guess you want to liken it to when you hear when someone witnesses to you about how they came to Jesus, if they were born again.
Yeah.
And they they tell you the story of how they felt that sort of the love of Jesus come over them and whatnot. It was kind of a similar experience. So if you wanted to liken it to that, it was almost like a religious experience minus the religion part, because it came to me that that we are just sort of tiny little infinitesimal specks in the whole entire universe, and what I was doing, or at least how I was living my life, it didn't sort of at that point the realization was it didn't matter what I was doing or how I was living my life, because like tomorrow if the sun blew up and everyone on earth was killed simultaneously, the universe as we know it, well, it really wouldn't bat an eyelid. We would just be one of however many trillions of stars that have blown up before us, basically. Mm-hmm. And that first realization, that part, was the bit that sort of, I guess it sort of shocked my brain into that realization. And for about a good 2 or 3 hours, all I could do was pretty much sit on the floor and cry at the feeling of sort of utter immenseness of the universe, I guess, in comparison to me. And that was the first reaction, though. So the second reaction was then, well, if this is truly the case, and it does seem to be so, at least, for me, I better be doing and living my life to the best of my ability, because, given that there's no, well, as far as my atheistic belief was developing, if there was no afterlife or reincarnation or heaven or anything like that, this is that I was lucky. This is my one shot that I've been given. I'm lucky to have been given birth to in the first place, and that kind of rekindled my, I guess if you want to call it, spirit. Rekindled my hope and wanting to go forward in the world, I guess. So, yeah, initially utter despair, but then realization that I'm here still, and, I've got a chance to at least live my life the way I want to live it. Mm-hmm. And, that all happened around sort of 17, 18 years of age. And, it was a very moving experience for me. So, like I said, the only way I can relate it for other people who may have faith in whatever denomination they're in, it was like being saved, I guess, just in the opposite direction. So I guess that's what brought me to it. It was the research, the reading, coming to an understanding of my place in the universe, and not just my place, that's everyone's place in the universe. What it means for us as humans, I guess, to actually be alive and existing. It was a big epiphany, and I'll stop rambling now. But that's in a small nutshell, a rather large nutshell. But yeah.
All right, cool. So, I mean, I did like some of Christopher Hitchens's, like, me and him agree on issues on abortion, for example. Sure. We both believe that politically or legally, anyways, that abortion should be allowed, as a, because women's choice, right?
Yep.
But me and him share the thing also that we both find that morally we are pro-life. He believes that from the new breaking studies we found in embryology, the concept of unborn child is a legit term due to especially for the last word in the term child. Mm-hmm. He believes that there is still a child in there, even though it's a fetus, and goes about trying to refute arguments that the fetus acts as like a limb or something, and he finds that idea to be preposterous in a sense.
Yeah.
So there are some things I agree with him on, but when it comes to topics like that, he's not exactly as I don't know, raunchy, I guess, as he is when it comes to politics and certain things with religion, because you can tell he's got like that thing that now is dubbed as the hitch slap. He has that kind of, right back at you kind of comments.
Of course, and it's what part of what made him famous.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's part of what made him famous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there was something that he didn't like. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it was the part that they said that he said that he didn't like, the thing being called hitch slaps or something like that. I think someone I talked to mentioned something about that.
What was it? Cold hitch slaps?
Well, the YouTube videos will always call them hitch slaps,
Yeah.
but I didn't think he actually, because I thought he might have, but he didn't, and I think there was a point where from what someone told me, that he didn't really like them being called that.
Yeah, because I guess it's it's akin to the meme that you see that happens on both sides of the fence for both religious and non-believers. Like I'm trying to give an example, but it always the meme always ends in atheists 1, Christian 0, or Christians 1, atheists 0, or checkmate atheists. It's those ones.
Yeah.
I think that has born sort of the hitch slap in that respect. So they take the sound bites and just the little snippets of the rebuttal, I guess, if you want to call it that, in the debate, and I can see how that's effective in its own way. But I'm also a big fan of full context. So like listening to the whole thing.
That's why I post my debate things.
Yeah, as opposed to just getting that little kernel, regardless of how gold it may seem. When you sometimes put those little bits in the larger picture, you actually see that it's not always quite as what it's made out to be. And it's both true of Christians and atheists. Across the board, we're both guilty of doing that. I think.
Alright. So, like, if someone were to, I don't know, try to convince you that there's a God, or convince you that that you have a savior or something, like, what would be, in your view, the convincing arguments or convincing speeches or whatever to hear?
Oh, sorry. For the atheist stance, you mean?
Well, not because every atheist I talk to, they don't like the point. It is just atheism as treating it like a religion. It's mainly just their individual selves. Like, everyone's going to have their own views of how they come to it, especially with atheism being at a broad range from agnosticism, the anti-theism's perspective, and all that kind of stuff. But like, what would be convincing to you, Tempest? Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's actually a very good question. There's a little bit of thought on that. So, what to go in the opposite direction? You mean? So
yeah.
So to convince me that there was a God, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so any sort of evidence that there is a God. So whether that would be direct communication, perhaps proof that something has changed through prayer that's not statistically normal. There would have to be some pretty serious evidence, and as to what that evidence is, like that's a really hard question. Would it be a miracle? Perhaps it could be a miracle, but it would have to be open to review and being able to look at that and check to see if it truly is a miracle or not, and not some other form of working. There would just have to be some really serious, physically strong evidence to show that God actually existed. Whether that would be him appearing in front of everyone, so that it was just in front of everyone, so that everyone could see that yes, that was God. Direct interaction from the divine. Actual prayers answered. And to show that it worked every time or most of the time, reproducible, those sort of things. Scientific basis, scientific evidence, I guess, is what I'd be after for proof of God. I mean, why? If you go by the Christian belief that, if you don't believe in God or Jesus, that you won't be saved and you'll go to hell and burn for eternity, why would he make it so hard to find proof of himself in the first place? Wouldn't you make it apparent, especially if we're his creation? I mean, I know we've been given apparently free will, to do whatever it is that we want to do. But on the same token, wouldn't it be good to give you free will and still go, by the way, guys, here's a huge finger sticking out of the cloud. This is me. I'm up here. So, make sure you do believe in me, but you've still got free will. Go about yourself and go about your day and do whatever you want to do, Well,
my view with my position, I'm a classical Calvinist in the sense of or classical reform. I don't like the word Calvinist because that tries to make the person that sort of went to the thing, like him being a cult leader. So I go with Reformed instead because that's when it was founded during the Reformation. But as a classical Reformed, I believe that in compatibilism for the sense of free will, I don't think that we have the unlimited ability to choose whatever the heck we want, because there are some things we can't choose by our own free will, because we can't fly like birds due to the fact that our nature and human ability limits us in that. And as a Christian compatibilist, I think the thing with our fallen nature as sinful beings sort of also limits us as to, we choose things based on our desires kind of thing. So comes the phrase that, people sin because it feels good, and I would be the one to agree that I still struggle with sin today, that I feel like there are things I do that I later regret after doing them. Sometimes it may take like a week. Maybe I'll steal Steve's wallet because I was hungry for a chicken sandwich, and I was really hungry and I really needed to eat, but I apologize to Steve, and then Steve punches me in the face, but we work our issues out in the end.
That's a very interesting look at the idea of sin, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Calvinists will always have an interesting perspective on that.
Because, what is sin exactly? Sin is just...
that's the weird thing. I had an argument today, or not really an argument. There's some guy that Skylar Fiction had a talk with him a while back, and this guy got famous because of Skylar, because on Skylar's interview, he told Skylar that he hoped he would get raped by babies. I mean, not by babies. that would be bizarre, though, wouldn't it? They were talking about morality, how Skylar believes morality is subjective, but this guy believes that morality is objective. And so they will go about the whole baby thing, that it's objectively moral all the time that a baby should not be raped. And Skylar would, say, well, what exactly on the morality basis? Because, he's got the subjective morality so he's trying to find, how do you justify that kind of stuff? And then at some point it got to the point that he said, I hope you get raped. Oh. Like this guy just told Skylar, like, I hope you get raped.
That's pretty terrible, though. I mean...
What's terrible is that the fact that the guy that told him this was a Christian.
Right. Oh.
What about the part of the Bible that says, do not wish ill or harm upon others?
Yeah. So, that's a little bit unfortunate. A little bit unfortunate. But, I don't know. So, do you think morality is objective?
I think it is, but I think that there are ways people can come up with that conception to subjective, and I could see where that would come into. But I think there is a sense of objective morality, because most people we'll always come to an agreement on certain things, such as killing people. Why don't we kill people? There are
Well,
people we don't.
could I put something forward there? So there's a lot of confusion over the fact that, so you say, why people don't kill other people, or why they feel like they shouldn't kill other people. And a lot of religious types will point to that as guidance, being set out by God, as the definitive moral standard, I guess. I would say to that it's actually more of a genetics, survival of the species, and evolution thing,
Right.
more than like a religious doctrine or anything like that, because it's in. I mean, a lot of people don't like it being broken down into like animals and just that we are just living organisms, like pretty much nothing more than that. And generally, what every living organism strives to do is survive and reproduce. Now, it's in our best interests as we have evolved for the survival of our species to not kill each other, generally. If somehow there was a benefit derived from killing another human, and whether that be biological or it would have to be biological, the case, we would be killing each other, because that's the way if that's what the way our species had to survive, that's how we would survive, right? It's a little bit of a thought experiment there, like if somehow killing another human being made sure you could make up, any way in the world that actually made the human species perpetuate, that's what we would be doing. We'd be killing each other. But it's in our best interest not to, because it makes sure that we, as a species, can survive and go on. And it's not moral so far as religious morals. It's just an inherent biological drive to know that you shouldn't do it because it could be detrimental to the species. But because we're human and we think and we have our brains, we like to cloud it with all this other stuff. But I don't think it gets any more complicated than survival, really. Where morals come from, at least, is survival. So, in my opinion.
All right, sounds good.
Right.
I think so far this is an interesting conversation we've had.
I hope I haven't rambled too much.
No,
I sometimes go off on tangents and other things. So
you should see my good buddy Maximus, who had in one of our hangouts of Apologia versus Atheism, he ended up going on for a while against a couple of the atheists we had on there, like Bunto and Annabelle. So it's, I mean, you're not the first time, but you're actually more, you're at least calm and mellow compared to volume. Anyways,
I am now. No. I have been known to yell and scream at people in hangouts, but it takes a lot.
I seen one hangout. You were talking about the Europe mission, I think, or something.
Sorry, say again.
I remember seeing one of your I saw one of your hangouts. I believe it was 6 months ago. And you were discussing about the Europe mission, I believe is what the thing was called.
I tried. That was the most dismal fail of a hangout ever.
Hey, as someone who's done these for a while, you're gonna have your fails, and then you're gonna have your good ones. So don't let that discourage you from doing any more. They'll come and then they'll go. Sometimes you just have to. It's like fishing. Just some days they're gonna bite. Some days you're just gonna get like 2 little minnows.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny, though.
Okay. Yeah.
Short but funny. But
right.
Yeah.
So all right.
Cool.
So what I will. Hopefully, we can continue to keep talking in the future because you do seem like an interesting person, and I hope hopefully we can discuss more on matters of religion to the point that we don't bare teeth at each other and try to rip each other's throats out. Because I know how that whenever that gets on, it's not a very nice looking conversation afterwards.
Yeah, it depends, I guess. I mean, both sides have to be able to listen and at least, yeah, be nice about it, even if you disagree, you know? Like, there's always enough room in a conversation for both sides to say their point, even if you're not changing the other person's mind, you know? So at the end of it, even if you both don't agree, you should be able to shake hands or the equivalent and say, thanks for the talk.
As a Christian, I believe that I can't do anything to convince somebody, but when I preach or make arguments, I believe God. Hold on a second. Dang, my throat keeps getting caught up. I need to start taking my Advil more lately. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted by Mother Nature and the throat.
Shut up and give the frog a chance. Sorry, go on.
No, that's cool. Nice joke, though. Great. What was I saying again? That made me forget. That's and
yeah, you were mentioning about how you don't think that you can maybe like convert or change someone's mind. Yeah.
Thank you, Kitty. You get 5 bonus points. Anyways, so I don't think I can convert people or convince people, anyways, of God or for them to convert to Jesus. I think that I give my glory on that to God, that God gives the glory on that, but it'll only happen if He allows it to, and that if the words can actually mean something to them, like, because they'll hear the words, but then there's the moment of thinking they revel on that. C.S. Lewis definitely, he heard the same arguments, but he wouldn't immediately, of course, convert as soon as he heard them. He would just start walking and thinking about it, and it took like a few weeks after a certain argument for him to come to the conclusion of it. But anyways, I don't know, just some stuff to bring about. I always liked C.S. Lewis. He was a very good intellectual being, and is someone you can truly, legitly say was a former atheist due to the early material you can find on him, where he wrote a poem called Dimer, where he pretty much compared the Christianity religion and other religions to myths and bedtime stories and all that kind of stuff, which at least shows that he was very much anti-religion and wanted to convince the world to be atheist. And then he became the world's most devout Christian apologist that they had in England, especially during World War II or World War I, I believe. But anyways, let us move on to the fun part of tonight's diving into the mind of. First, we're going to play Picture-rama. So, first off, brought to you by Soul Eater, here are our pictures. First one, we have a creepy looking moon here. Yes.
Rather interesting.
Yes, it's bleeding from its teeth. This thing looks like it just took a bunch of crack cocaine, and his eyes are very dilated right now. And then it's just, I don't know, it's very sharp shaped. And it looks, I just now noticed this, it almost looks like the Wu-Tang Clan symbol when you look at the yellow on it.
It does a little bit, actually. The other thing it reminds me of is perhaps if you've ever played Majora's Mask. Yeah, The Legend of Zelda. It also reminds me, it could be like the moon's like brother or cousin or something like that. It's got the same sort of maniacal look and teeth showing, you know?
Yeah, it's like, hi. And then the other moon's like, oh, crap, not him again.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, how's it
The symbol,
going?
the symbolism though around the eye is interesting. So, like the eye itself, with the little bits around it, looks like a separate part. Like it could be something just inside the moon that's perhaps taken over. I don't know. Hmm.
Yeah, the artwork with Soul Eater is very weird because that's the moon and it pretty much just stays like that at night. But then whenever it's daytime, it's a laughing sun.
Right.
Yeah, so interesting. You Japanese people can come up with some good stuff for anime.
Very
So,
nice.
so your mission now is to
Hmm.
come up with a caption based on what you see in these pictures. Well, and I'll give you something to base it on. Uh, he's bleeding from the mouth. Uh, what is his? What is he saying right now as a result of bleeding from the mouth that's related to that?
Hmm. Oh, um, oh, no, that's terrible. My brain goes in all different, terribly bad directions.
So does mine.
The caption would just be Moonflow, um, and that. Yeah, if you don't know what that is, then that's okay. That would be my caption.
Moonflow. Sounds like a
Yes.
product. All right, Moonflow. All right, let's go on to the bloody devil. Come here. There we go. Now let me try to find the other picture because I got two more. All right.
That's,
Then the next,
that was terrible. That was a terrible caption.
but I don't know what it means for the viewers that know what it means. I'm apparently very naive, so leave a comment as to describing what the heck Moonflow is. Until then, I will get back.
You're not gonna like those comments.
So,
Cool.
so here's the next one. We have a up close. This is a kitty girl, as you can see. There's one ear there, and the left
Yeah.
one. So she is very up and close. I think this person has no respect for personal space. Do you agree with that?
But kitties are like that in general.
Mm.
They would just jump in your lap or rub against, regardless of whether or not you like your personal space.
Sounds like my last two girlfriends. Anyways, so what's a good caption for this? The cat's up close. What
But
what is
it's
she
a bit of
saying?
a bit of a, I guess like a Halloween vibe going on there though as well. In the background, with a little black cat,
Oh yeah.
spider webs and whatnot. But for me, this would be the prime opportunity that she would be saying "got milk."
That's the perfect face for it too.
Indeed.
Imagine kids start seeing if a kid's watching this episode, he notices this picture and that phrase. That's probably how he's going to start asking for milk. He's going to go up to his parents and just go like, "Got milk?"
Really close to the face.
Really close. And if they're Japanese, they're going to get the meow part perfectly. Got milk? Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. All right. So that is one of our pictures. And this is the final one. This one may disturb some people if they are scared of albinos. So,
Scared of albinos?
yes, because it's white hair and red eyes, and this is one creepy looking dude.
Ooh.
Yes.
What's that from? That's very familiar.
That is also from Soul Eater.
Ah, yeah.
That is Soul whenever he's losing his mind.
Hmm. Now I need a caption. Let me think of a caption. I'm normally pretty good at that. But it does look pretty crazy.
Indeed. Like, he looks like he just, like, he needs a little face paint on him, and he'll be perfect for an ICP concert.
Magnets, how do they work?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? I think, I don't know. I think the caption might be something like, no, it's going. Something like, I just got dental work. Do you like my teeth?
Oh, man. That's one heck of a dental work. Wow, they're like shark teeth.
Yeah.
Like, there's an abridged series of an anime called Irotabi Free, which is basically an anime about a swimming club. And the girls watch it because it's fan service for them because of the guys and a six-pack abs and swimming and abs, and pretty much it's just half of the anime is them ripping their shirts off and showing off their muscles.
Aha.
So, yep.
So many fan service animes.
and one of the characters on there has sharp teeth, like all over. So some of the jokes they make is Jaws 3, or it's like, aren't you gonna stab? It's like, no, that boy's Shark Week. I ain't messing with that. So just interesting things they can make on that, and they did, and the crew that did the voice for the abridged series, they did a little improv skit at a panel, and during the thing, he went to the dentist. He's like, so what exactly do you eat? He's like, well, I eat license plates off of cars. I eat Samuel L. Jackson. So, I don't know, maybe this might be like that kind of thing going. He maybe saw the same dentist.
It could be. Although I could be a little bit crass, and it could be what you don't want to see before a blowjob.
Oh, Lord. Well, you're right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry for the more sensitive viewers there.
No, yeah.
I apologize because I am Australian, so we do have a bit of a harsher sense of humor, I guess. Yeah.
Some of the audience, they've seen some of my stuff, and some of my videos do tend to not be focused on sensitive, because I think that we need to stop being sensitive on certain things, because it tends to kind of sissy the Christianity thing, because there are points where Christians are being less educated, and normally whenever Christians are reformed, there is a sense of higher education base, especially in theology schools, because they're actually taking the time to learn about what they want. Catholics definitely have some sense that they have an astronomy thing, they have biology. Several, like Fiona Robertson, for instance, who is a Catholic, or a Roman Catholic, and she has a biology degree, and that's why she's a defender of evolution on the basis. So, so yeah, there's a good sense, but there's like southern, like for example, I'm in the Bible Belt of the American South, and when I see some people, it's just ridiculous that they have a very different kind of view towards, like I teach an apologetics class, and we did a thing involving science and religion, and we covered the topic of evolution and creation. I covered the different alternatives of old Earth creationism, intelligent design, young Earth creationism, theistic evolution. And one guy said, well, if we are supposedly to come from monkeys, then why are there still monkeys? And I was like, sir, I am glad you asked that question. And then I explained as best as I could to them. And some of them was like, I still don't trust what the scientists say. I go with God's word. I'm like, and that's okay. I mean, you can do that, but I mean, I expect also to respect the beliefs of people like me who believe in, theistic evolution, that God had a design and a purpose and a plan within what seemed like a very random process known as evolution.
Hmm.
Some
So,
people,
do you think that do you really think that there is an actual design there? Because there's a lot of flaws in it, really.
right? But like when it comes to like, that's the thing I always get confused about when intelligent design people goes like, it seems perfectly designed. Well, maybe to you. I mean, it seems that it's like that thing, beauty is in the eye of the beholder kind of thing. So the same way with the idea of design. Like to me, when I'm talking about design, I mean like in will. I'm a compatibilist in the sense that I still believe that there's determinism that's still compatible with free will. So I believe there are some things that are determined, especially within the realm of evolution processes, that I believe that it was a guided process, even if it did seem like it was, uh, some bad moves at points, like the evolution for the neck of the giraffe, for instance. I saw there was a video of Richard Dawkins explaining on that topic. But yeah, I saw that there are some things, but I think that also, even that they seem negative, there can be a positive to it. For example, like we have the giraffe and we have other beings, and then there's us, essentially.
Hmm. What about how unequipped we are to actually perceive uh, things like ionizing radiation and that sort of stuff? Our eyes, for example, complex as they may seem,
Hmm.
we're pretty ill-equipped to deal with the universe in general.
Right.
Gamma rays, X-rays, all other forms of radiation, which are forms of light, which we could, we should be able to see, really, when you think about it, if it was designed. Like, why would you cut out that spectrum if it was designed, basically, and not evolved? There's a lot of, it doesn't make sense to me, at least anyway, that if you want to state that, yes, there is a designer behind it, wouldn't the designer make sure that they had the best tools to work with from their design? Why
Right,
make
and
the
then,
mistakes?
right, but that this thing that I don't know if they may be mistakes or not. They may seem like mistakes to us, but it might not be mistakes to the person that had something in mind. Like because some of the arts these days, they may seem a little sloppy, but there's an intention behind them. Like I went to this art gallery in downtown one day, and there was some interesting artworks that you look at it, you might not understand what the heck is going on at first due to the sloppiness of it. But it took having to look at it for like 5 minutes to figure out it was a portrait about a man who was struggling with how much time he's got left to do all these things: work, run, jog, um, be with his friends, be with his wife. So there was a whole lot of it that was in there, but it just looked sloppy. So I don't know. There is probably some form of intention in the design that caused it to probably look the way it did, that we would consider it to be, you know, mistakes or question, why didn't you do it like this? I remember Francis Collin, who was the president of the NIH in America, and uh, he was behind the Human Genome Project, that he led it.
Hmm.
He mentioned that, he's heard the question from people, if I were God, I wouldn't have done it that way. And he's like, well, it's not a matter about how you would have done it. It's a matter how the creator that did create it, how did he do it? That's the thing we have to observe and how we look at it. And so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you want to look into more on theistic evolution on that kind of perspective, Francis Collins is definitely one of the highest forms of scientific minds, especially with him leading a very huge project such as the human genome. And is a devout Christian and theistic evolutionist who wrote a book called The Language of God, I believe a couple years after he was finished with the Human Genome Project.
I have not read, but I don't know. I still can't come to agree with it, because at first you have to prove that there was someone that was doing the design.
Right, we gotta get that.
Like that it was designed. Like you can't sort of say it was designed without first being able to prove that there was a designer.
Right.
In the beginning, proof of God, I guess it comes back to, and yeah, that one's a very long, sticky subject too, because I don't think you can. I don't think either side can truly prove or disprove God as a whole, because he's not. He's unfalsifiable, I guess. There's nothing to test.
Right.
So yeah, as far as that goes, I'm not sure, but that's pretty cool. It's an interesting idea. Interesting idea that there's just sort of the evolution is brought about by God, or was started by God, and it's still part of his design. Interesting thought.
So the next thing we're doing is a little Q&A section, and for this I'm going to need my sound effects for the purpose of it. All right. Okay, now it's loaded. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Tempest Kitty. Everyone, give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Take my wife. I'm here till Thursday.
Wait, what?
I was being silly. I was like, thank you. Take my wife. I'm here till Thursday.
Take my wife. Take my wife. Take my car. Take my kids. What about? They'll throw anything out. Anything for money. I don't know. I feel like a radio DJ right now. Anyways, let's get to the first question. So, note that these are intense, so we're going to have to treat this like that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. So, Tempest. Tails or ears?
Definitely ears.
And the answer is... You got it! It was ears! All right. Nice job. All right, so so we got that question, which was probably the most philosophical question ever known to history. I mean, it's so obvious. Duh. Ears.
I like ears. I've got a thing for ears. Ears are yummy.
Ears are yummy. Oh, wow. That just reminded me of this one person. Anyways, up next, let us bring down the next level. Wolf or dog?
Is there a neither option?
There is a secret. There is a secret neither option if you wish.
There is a secret neither option if I wish. Yeah, because there should be an option for cats at least.
Okay, we also have an option for cats.
Yeah, wolf or dog though. The answer is both, because they're technically the same.
Exactly why I decided to bring it up.
Genealogically speaking, yes.
Yes. So the answer was correct. All right. So both is a good answer. All right. Now this one was where we're no longer going to get simple. We're going to be I'm about to be as retarded as ever with these. And for some of you watching this live, y'all know me enough to know that I am going to get really ridiculous. All right. Let me clear my throat, because this one is... All right. So see if you can say this 2 times fast, or just 1 time fast if you want to go easy. How many wolves can a wolf woof when a wolf woofs at wolf who woofs?
How many wolves can a wolf? Oh no! Can you type it out so I can
Yes,
remember it? No. Yeah.
Yes, let me do that right now.
Yeah. How many wolves can a wolf woof when a wolf woofs at a wolf who woofs? I can say it actually a few times. How many wolves can a wolf woof when a wolf woofs at a wolf who woofs? That's about as much as I'm going to get before starting to slur it.
All right, so she got the 2 times. So yeah, that was something right there. Everyone, give her a round of applause. All right. So now the next question. So I don't know. I mean, think of yourself as religious for a second. Do you think God loves furries?
God loves friends?
Furries.
Oh, furries. Do I think God loves furries? Sorry. Yes, I think that they, if from a religious point of view, perhaps, and God point of view, they are expressing their free will, and a lot of them are not doing anything, I guess, that would classify as sinful, except for there is a portion that might all be going to hell. But I remember you asked me to pretend I was religious. I think a large portion of the community, no, I don't think God would be upset with them. I think he would love them all equally anyway. Well, supposedly that's what he's supposed to do, even the ones that might be doing the things that upset him. His love is supposed to be infinite. So yes, I do believe he would love furries.
All right.
In fact, I think he invented the fursuit. So
Really?
that's a baseless claim. There's no evidence to back that up.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so our final question. Cue the drum roll. So right now you have been contacted by this big producing studio somewhere in, I don't know what the Los Angeles or Hollywood is of Australia, but they've called you. And they would like to put you on Broadway for Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, the musical. Would you accept the gig?
Well, as the lead role, right?
Yeah, the lead role. The lead role being unfortunately the lead role's character is called Tempest Kitty, and basically it's the cat goes on a bunch of adventures, meets a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah, I'd be in that. Sure, as long as I was getting paid well, that would be fine.
All right.
That would be fine.
Yeah, there's the money rolling in right there. I'm seeing millions of dollars already.
Yeah, I like a good stage show. So yeah, being a part of one would be awesome. So
All right.
I would do that.
All right. Well, this has been diving into the mind of, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to Tempest Kitty, my good guest that got to come on and do this wonderful show that was a good, decent late night that I decided to do, which is a rare thing that I do, and I'm actually glad that I got a chance to do this, actually, because this was a very interesting night. Or technically it's morning, I can't tell.
It's 3:50 p.m. here, in my time zone.
Wow, we are way far ahead.
No, I'm way far ahead. I'm the next day. Remember, I'm living in the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so jealous right now.
I'll just I have a flying car waiting for me out there once we're finished.
I think I just heard the flying car.
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway.
good. I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And feel free to come on anytime for a theological discussion or apologia versus atheism, which, by the way, it is 12:51 a.m. here, and at around 8 or 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, or I may have to go early. I don't know, because I think one of my friends wants to do another interview. But around there, we should be doing apologia versus atheism, which you are more than welcome to join. It'll be around the same time that I messaged you earlier with around my time would be 9 or 8 p.m. Central Standard. So,
Sure.
but yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember to always be good. And this was the operation of a lifetime known as diving into the mind of.